Gerard, welcome to Behind the Story. Appreciate
Hey.
you taking the time out of your day to talk to us about
Mm-hmm.
your brand and what you've got going on. So,
Okay.
I want to start off with the very beginning. Did
Mm-hmm.
did the brand start as I Am Motherless, or did it come from something else? What's the brief, like high level overview of how the brand actually got started?
Always a great question, and thank you for interviewing me here today. The brand actually started. I started with candles,
Okay.
and when I started doing candles, I realized at that time people were buying a candle and they never came back. And I knew something had to change in my formula, my business system, the way I was running things. So I didn't have a clue. So
Okay.
I'm sitting in the garage. That's where I had my production line at for the candles. And went to work. Well, I went to work with one of my moisturizers that I use every day. My mother taught me how to make this moisturizer. Quick, easy, cheap, and you get a very nice pairing with the moisturizer and the fragrance.
Okay.
So I went to work, and that's when the nurses, people all over in the allied health field. I had the doctors, a lot of physician assistants. They were curious about what I had, and they wanted to use it. So I let them use it. Um, it carried over to different floors. So the next day, people would come and ask for more, and I told them I didn't have it like that. And one lady mentioned to me she would buy it. She
Okay.
said, "If you just make one for me, I'll buy it." And that's when the light bulb went on, and I had a moisturizer. I was selling it to people in the allied health field, every different department, because in the allied health field, washing your hands is essential.
And
You
were
know,
you selling just out of the garage, out of your home?
out of my home.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was just out of my home. It was underneath my counter,
Okay.
so I had to find jars. I had to start getting more shea butter because the word went out that it was a good product. Now, coming up with a name to answer your question, I knew I had a brand. I knew I had a business. Soon as someone said I'll buy it, I knew I had a business. So I decided to name it something French.
Okay.
I just wanted to be in the beauty field, and everywhere I looked, everyone's name was French,
Okay.
and I went with that. Chez Chez Le Femme was the name of the company, the name that I chose. Not knowing what it meant, I just liked the sound of it. I liked the song, and it flowed off of the tongue easy.
Hmm.
It was fun to say. So that's how I came up with the name. It had no rhyme or reason at the time.
Prior to I Am Motherless, this was what it was called.
Yeah, that is correct. That
Got
is
it.
correct.
Got it.
Now, the fun part about it is people loved it because they could relate to the song that was called Chez Chez La Femme. Spelt differently, of course, understood what it meant later, and it had nothing to do with the fragrance or the moisturizer at all. Now, your question was, how did I get from that to motherless?
Yeah. What does I Am Motherless stand for, and what does it mean to you?
I am motherless came from a moment that I had of clarity. Driving, listening to an audio book, someone cried out in the audio book, I need my mom,
Mm.
mommy. And she said, Mommy, this is a grown woman, a 60-year-old woman. She was going through some life pains,
Mm.
and her mother passed at the same time. Her husband, she caught him embezzling money from her. It happened simultaneously, and the pain was so deep. First thing came to her mind was, Mommy, I need my mommy. I just want to talk to my mommy. At that very moment, I realized that's what I needed.
Mm.
I was experiencing so much grief, trying to untangle every which way of how to deal with it, and I had no clue. But I knew that there was a problem, and not knowing what my problem was, put the grief aside. I just thought I had problems
Okay.
that I couldn't fix, and one day I'm going to figure it out. And I realized at that moment, I needed my mommy. I wasn't a mama's boy. I just loved my mom
Right.
so much, and the passing was so quick. So I stopped the car. I was driving to Arizona with my wife. I stopped the car. I got out and I just started yelling. because I knew that was my problem. I am motherless. It opened my mind to all the other problems that I was having in life.
Was that feeling of being motherless, was that sort of like something that it became conscious to you in that moment, or was that something you realized you were always feeling from the time she passed?
I never knew I was motherless. I know my mother died.
Got it.
I didn't realize I was motherless, which meant I don't have a safety net. Um, I'll never hear someone say, I'll never have a cheerleader as big as her. And that moment is when I realized I had a hard time loving, I had a hard time trusting, I had a hard time feeling good. And once I realized I was motherless, I knew that that was the problem to everything of who I was and what was going on in my life.
And how did that feeling in that moment at the side of the highway translate into the name of the product being I Am Motherless? Where does that connection?
I decided to tell my wife at that moment, I am motherless. I just kept saying it over and over while I'm crying. And I realized the product that I made, my mother taught me the ingredients and the formula.
Okay.
And I went, wait a minute. I am motherless. That is the name of my new product. I'm rebranding myself. And I guess you could imagine the look that I got from my wife. What are you thinking?
Really?
That is the saddest name for a great brand that makes people feel good. I said, no, this is it. This is it. I wanted to celebrate the fact that I was now aware that I am motherless. So now it was about me.
Right.
And I wanted to show the world who I was. And that's how I came up with the name.
And I suppose from her perspective, she's probably being a bit literal in the words I am motherless, as far as from the negative part, not realizing
Yeah.
the connection it made for you back to her, of her being the person that taught you how to make the product. That entrepreneurial connection between you and mom was something she just passed on.
Yeah.
She probably wasn't looking at it from that perspective, more just of you were crying at the moment you told her.
Yeah.
So she was looking at your grief, maybe not realizing it was a release more than just grief in the moment. So maybe she was responding to that. So let's back up a bit. Going back to, because we're talking about I am motherless, we're talking about you losing your mom, but let's go back before that and talk a bit about your background, your origin, like where are you from originally? Talk to me a bit about that and lead me into how you decided. I got the part where you were in the garage, you were just making the candles, and you
Yeah.
made that. But what's before that? What led to even that? Like, where are you from originally?
From Newark, New Jersey, born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I wasn't raised in the projects. I was raised in, I guess you could say, smaller units.
Okay.
We could see the projects. We had friends who were in the projects, but we did not live in the projects. We were doing pretty well. My stepdad raised us, and we were pretty happy. We had pretty happy youth.
Okay.
Memorable. There
Okay.
were things that most people, they want to forget in their youth. For me, I always want to remember my youth. Everything that happened that I saw at the time that wasn't good ultimately turned out to be something that benefited me later on. So I grew up there, and we moved to the suburbs.
Okay.
I remember 7 years old, we moved to the suburbs, and I'm in a Catholic school. So now I'm around all of these public school kids, and I'm the only one, our family is the only one that goes to Catholic school. So now the identity of who am I started to come in play. I'm 8 years old now. Now there's a lot of challenges. The challenges of how do I fit in to my new world.
Okay.
Public school friends, Catholic school all day, during the week. So I had to fight. I had to fight to live, and I lived to fight, because that became my identity, that you had to prove yourself, Catholic boy.
Right.
And I wore that with a badge of honor. I wore my uniform, my tie. I would go outside and play with my tie, and I was proud. Why? Because I could fight.
Right.
And I can now do what I want to do. You can't tell me how I should act or who I should be. So that was my childhood of, wait a minute, I have a way of not fitting in, but being myself. So everything I did in life now stemmed from that thought. Just be yourself.
And it happened that early for you, 8 years old.
8 years old.
So I was, as you were talking about that, I was thinking about something because I do know a bit of your story, and something clicked for me that I want to ask you. So for me, we have similar backgrounds in that. I also went to private school and had to navigate with those friends and navigate with the people, with the friends outside. My mom, she always wanted. She was a bit of a snob, and she always said she wanted me to be prim and proper, and I had to be that way when I was in school because I went to private school. But then with my friends who were outside, I had to be a different way.
Yeah.
But I had a dad. My dad was in my life 1,000%, and between him and my mom, my dad was the one that kept me feeling like it was okay. And I know you've got a famous dad, and I want you to tell me, did you have this similar connection with your dad? And was that how the influence came that took you into the direction that you went, that I hope you would talk about?
Well, everything was about figuring it out. My parents weren't very well educated. They weren't people that knew a lot about life. They just navigated through life, did the best they can during that time. And I was a product of that. When it came time for me to fend for myself and they knew I was okay, they would push me outside and say, figure it out. Basically, go mess up, make mistakes, come back and tell us what you did.
Okay.
That's how they learned how to instruct me to, be a better person. Because they would listen to the things that I said, that I did, and they just kind of said, no, that's not morally right. Or you should have did it this way. So we always had open communication in my family to where they said, you go figure it out and then come back and tell us. We're not going to tell you what to do. We want you to tell us what you did. So the door was open for me to do whatever I wanted. Plus I had this identity thing where I could be anything I want. Oh, I was living the dream all the way up into my teenage years to where the curtain was open and everyone knew I had a famous dad. So now it's like, hey, what can you do? What do you bring to the table? Can you sing? Can you play an instrument? The amount of celebrities that came to my house put me in a position where I don't have an identity anymore. I didn't like it.
Right.
I didn't like the fact that now you're telling me I need to be an entertainer.
Sort of like it was predetermined what you were supposed to be based on your dad.
From everyone, from the neighbors to the family members, to his band members, to his friends in the business. You're going to be something because your dad is somebody.
How'd you escape that?
Rebelling in the streets.
Okay.
Together.
In what way?
I had a bad taste in my mouth about rehearsal, about being in plays. My perception. I changed my perception. Like, this is not who I am. This is what they want me to be.
Okay.
So I decided to find my identity, and I became a character.
Okay.
It helped me escape being a musician's kid, because that's all I was to them. He was so big, and the people around him were so popular that I became the kid that knows this person and that person. So I had to think of something quick, Jelani. And what I did was created a character. I reinvented myself to be a tough guy, to be a nice guy, to be whatever I wanted to be, but not a musician. I didn't want to live in the shadows of someone else because I didn't have an identity. It was an identity that they gave me.
When did you leave?
When did I leave New Jersey?
Yeah, when did you physically
I left
leave?
New Jersey I went to the military at 18.
Okay.
I came home. I got, I wasn't dishonorable discharged. I got a other than honorable. which means I wasn't good for them. They weren't good for me.
Okay. Never heard that.
Yeah, yeah. It's other than honorable. It's not a bad discharge. It's not a good discharge. It's just like get out.
Okay.
But it stemmed from the loss of my mother to where I was not there.
Okay.
I was not playing by their rules. I was not playing by life's rules. I was lost. I needed help, and they saw it, and they didn't supply me with the help that I needed. So they saw it. So they said, get out and take care of whatever you need to take care of. So then when I got out, I had already seen the world, and I had a good taste in my mouth about going somewhere and using all the skills that I had to move somewhere else, reinvent myself.
Right.
I knew I could survive physically. Emotionally, I was good. I was good. As males, we mostly are have control over our emotions for the most part. So I said, I'm gonna give it a shot. I told my cousin, I was in the car driving, and I said, I'm leaving tonight. He said, you're not going anywhere. And that's the first time I ever left home on my own. I called my grandmother in South Carolina, went there. Next thing you know, a friend in Atlanta said, wow, you're right up the street. We'll pick you up and come to Atlanta. And it just snowballed. I didn't stop. From that day, I did not stop.
And during these times of transition, were you thinking about the business, or was the business not something part of your conscious during those moments?
I purposely ran away from the business. It was following me wherever I went. My sister was in the business, my brother was in the business, my mom was in the business, and if I stayed there, I would have been in the business. I seen what it does to those people. I did not want no part of that. It destroyed them. It stripped them away of their identity. And that's the one thing that I was holding on to was my identity. It made me feel good to know that I knew who I was.
Separate to that
Separate,
legacy.
way separate from that.
So running away from that business, let's bring you up to, let's skip a few things and bring you up to running away from that business and getting into your own business as an entrepreneur. How did you get there?
By a circumstance. It was a circumstance that happened where I got flooded in Hurricane Harvey. We paid our premium and we got some return money back. So here I am with a whole lot of money. Now I have to make choices on how to use this money correctly. And I decided, in my mind, I'm going to start a business.
Okay.
And you know a lot of people like this. They get money, they want to start a business, and they have no clue about business.
Right.
That was me. Okay. I said, but I'm always ready for the moment. You know, I knew I was an entrepreneur because I was a risk taker. Right. And I found out later on, that's what makes entrepreneurs is being a risk taker. So I wanted to do limo. I wanted to paint fences. I wanted to buy a tow truck. I mean, you name it.
Just looking for an opportunity.
I was trying to find myself. All the things that I knew, my experiences, I wanted to put it to use in a business, not knowing what business was about.
Right.
And I didn't fail at any of them. They just didn't materialize for some reason. So I'm still stuck with this money. So I started making candles and said, well, if nobody wants to buy my service, tow truck, limousine, painting, I'll just create a product.
Okay.
And that's how that started. And then we talked earlier about the moisturizer. So come full circle, when I got the money, I bought the materials to make the moisturizer, and here I am today.
Okay. So in between making it in your garage and just servicing the different people in the medical industry and stuff, how did you transition it into retail? Did you go to a location? Did you just go online? Like where was that transition before you got up to where you are now?
I had an ego. I had a big ego.
Don't we all?
Yeah. You know, and it was my best friend at times because I can put him in the closet when I want to. I don't carry my ego with me all the time. But being a musician, coming from a musician family, I understand about that ego. You take it on stage, and then you take it off stage. You put it away after you leave the stage. So I said I'm going to use my ego. And that's yeah. I like to talk about my ego a lot because it was my friend, but now I don't even recognize him. I don't recognize him if I saw him again.
Okay.
So I just saw everyone else doing retail. Then I started getting bugs in my ear. Hey, you should try opening up a store. I'm a risk taker. What the hell? Let me go ahead and try it. Not knowing anything about the business.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first person I met who asked me, what the hell are you doing, was you. You said you don't even know what you're doing, but you're doing it. And you're doing it well. You were part of feeding my ego. With that came great sales from my product, which resulted in great profits, which resulted in alcoholism.
How?
I was always an alcoholic.
Okay.
After my mom died, the alcohol,
That was the refuge.
it took me to a place of happiness.
Okay.
I was a happy drunk.
Okay.
And all I wanted was happiness. And everything I do, that's all I want to do is be happy.
Okay.
And when I say happy, I'm talking about smiling, holding my gut, laughing, that kind of happy. Not just feeling happy and then not meaning it, not embracing it. I just wanted full happiness because I had a terrible childhood. Back when I was about 5 or 6, I used to get locked in the closet by my grandmother. So it wasn't my mother and my father that caused any unhappiness. It was my grandmother.
Okay.
She didn't like me because I was left-handed. Left-handed was a sign of the devil. She didn't like me because my mother and I was close, and she didn't like my mother, so she took a lot out on me. So I remember being in the closet a lot, and I just wanted happiness.
Okay.
I just wanted to be happy. And so everything I did, I just wanted to be happy. So when my mom died, of course, obviously I wasn't happy. But when I started drinking, I was happy. So I gravitated to that immediately. I tried every drug known to man, and nothing. Cocaine didn't make me happy. Acid didn't make me happy. Weed didn't make me happy. But alcohol did. And the people that drank were happy too.
Right.
Hey, win-win for me. So yeah, that's what happened with the profits. The profit increased my alcoholism, and it enhanced my happiness. So it kind of was, just a poison, toxic. It was very toxic for me to make that money at that time, having the problem that I was having.
Right.
So
How did it? Because when people say that you're an alcoholic, obviously it is what it is. That's what you are, and you're recovering. You're just not drinking. How is it now for you? How did you go from that, what you just described, where you've got the profits, you've got the success, but you're drinking the profits and the success? How did you become dry? What was the moment?
Well, for every alcoholic, it always takes rock bottom. Your rock bottom is different than mine. My rock bottom is different from hers. So everyone has a different rock bottom, and there are no levels. You don't get to choose like, oh yeah, this one is the rock bottom right here versus this one. You have to find that moment where you say it's now or never. So I had a car accident.
Okay.
Not fatal, really bad, major car accident. No one got hurt, not even me, but it was pretty bad.
Okay.
And at that moment, while I'm spinning around in the car, the first thing came to my mind, Jelani, was my life is unmanageable. It's out of control. It's out of control. So that day, of course, the handcuffs sitting in the cell, pretty much makes you reflect on a lot of things. And I realized I'm 61. What am I doing? Hey, whoa, wake up. Look what you have.
Right.
And that day, February 13th, 2024, 3 a.m. is the time I stopped. When I became sober, I can't tell you.
Okay.
Because it was a process to get sober. But I stopped drinking February 13th, 2024.
Did you see a difference with the business before that date and after it?
Let me start by saying this. I saw a difference in me and I'm the business. If I fail, the business fails. So I saw a big change in me. What I saw was two things. I saw clarity. I had clarity. I could see things differently. Before, when you're an alcoholic, all you see is the clock. I better get to the store before. It's almost 5 o'clock. I need to. Alcoholics do that. We tend to focus on time. What time to drink? What time is the best time? Because we know how much we drink, and we know after 2 hours or 3 hours, I'm going to be really drunk, and I want to be somewhere. So that was my thing, was to always look at the clock. But I knew I had clarity, and also I had happiness. I was happy again. I said, wait a minute.
Or I'm gonna push you on this,
Yeah.
because alcoholism obviously is a serious disease, and it's a disease, and it's not to be technical, but you're creating feelings based on a chemical. So is it that not you were happy again? Could it possibly be you're just happy, but the chemical was blocking you from even feeling the happiness? Because the business was the business before when you were drinking, and it is after.
Right.
Would that be what the clarity means? A bit of it.
Oh, you're absolutely 100% correct. If you're a mean person, alcohol will enhance that and put a cape on you, and you become extra mean. I was always a happy person.
So it just made you more happy.
It made me more happy, and people around me saw that I was happy, so they never thought.
And
it
I
was
can
a problem.
attest to that, because I, in reflecting in the years we've known each other, I can't remember a time when you were upset. I remember times when you would say, things are tough, but I'm okay. Like, that would be the way you phrase things. But I can't remember a time where I've ever seen you upset.
And wow, that's so powerful you said that, because I always wanted to be like my dad. I've never seen my dad upset. My dad just doesn't get upset. He's 99.999% of the time happy. And I always wanted to be like him. In other ways, not knowing I'm just like him. We've spent a lot of time together where we talked, and we found out we're the same person. I'm his shadow. Whatever he does, I shadow right behind him.
I can attest to that. 'Cause
Yeah.
being around your dad, he just has a happy energy. So I can attest to that.
He's going to live a long time because he's generally happy. He's not forcing any happiness on anybody or on himself. He just wakes up, and he wakes up singing. He wakes up whistling. He wakes up happy. I didn't know all this time that I was always happy, and I didn't need the chemicals like you said. So now, here's something that's really weird. I found out I'm not an alcoholic. I just love to drink.
What's the difference?
I'm drinking pineapple juice, orange juice, tomato
So it's
juice,
just
water
something
every
liquid.
day. I love that stuff because I like liquids.
Okay.
But I had substituted, and I'm still happy, but I substituted with alcohol because that's what I thought was going to fix the problem and get me out of the fantasy world. I mean, the reality world. I didn't want to be in reality. I wanted to stay in fantasy world. It was fun.
Isn't it ironic, backing up to something you said earlier, isn't it ironic that you were running from your family, not wanting to be that part of that legacy, and you're exactly like your dad?
Just like my dad.
What you were running from, you are. So in essence, you possibly were running from yourself.
Yep.
Running from who you are.
Yep. And that's the strange thing about being an alcoholic. You're not dealing with reality, and that was the reality, like you said. The fantasy was I'm savoir-faire. I'm someone else. But in reality, I'm who I am, and I wasn't happy because you get told sometimes in life, you're not this, you're not that, you're not that. So okay, I'll try to be something else, and people like that. So you go, okay, I'll stick with that. Not knowing I shouldn't care about what people think about me. That's where I'm at in my life now.
Let's talk about the product a little bit more. I Am Motherless, the Shea Butter product. I've seen videos of you online. You called it, what do you call it? The new Vaseline?
The new black
The new
Vaseline.
black Vaseline. Why?
Number one, I'm a risk taker. I knew that name would stir people up and rattle some cages. I love rattling cages in business, because it makes noise. I'm loud. You have to be loud in business. People have to know you're there. What's good or bad? No one knows. You just have to get out there and be a risk taker and see what happens. Now, it's funny you said that. I went on TikTok and I promoted my product very well, and I did very well. But I started saying, let me turn the volume up. So I start challenging other moisturizers on TikTok. I remember my following said, hey, they're in your room. And I said, oh, okay. I saw my competitors in my room watching me. The next day, they came back in. They said, hey, they're in your room again. Now, these are the darlings of TikTok. They're $1 million sellers. 2 days later, I was shut down. Come to find out, my competitor was so big and did not like the fact that I was shaming her product. So she complained to TikTok, who's the decision maker, and they said, well, he knows the rules. You're not supposed to talk about other brands.
You're not?
Not at all. You're supposed to support other brands on TikTok. You cannot. That is a violation. That's a shutdown violation.
But you're allowed to talk about other brands positively, obviously.
That is correct.
So you can't say anything bad. You can only say good things.
That is correct.
So how does people know there's any integrity in what you're saying?
Because I threw their stuff in the garbage right on TikTok.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If
Yeah,
I can only say something good about a product,
Right.
how do you know what I'm saying has integrity? And all
I
that?
understand what you're saying.
You know?
That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Why can't I give my honest opinion? But see, I had a store. There's a difference. If you don't have a store, you can come on and say, this is garbage.
Oh, as an individual.
As
but
an
as a
individual.
business owner, as a competitor, I couldn't come with a similar product and trash yours.
Not
okay,
at
I get that.
Not at all.
But can you say what's true about it? You probably don't. I mean, I'm asking you about TikTok policies.
Yeah.
Open up a different can of worms. But going back to the product though, and the black Vaseline connotation, have you gotten any negative pushback or feedback about calling it that or referring it to it in that way?
I'm going to get to that, but let me finish answering what we were just talking about. Mission completed. When they shut my store down, I sat there, and most people would get upset. For me, mission completed. I made noise. I rattled cages. They were talking about me. I was in their ear. They were watching me. Mission accomplished. Just because they shut my store down on TikTok, that doesn't define me or tell you how good or how bad my product is.
Right.
I needed to be heard. And sometimes you just have to go there.
Well, being known, exactly.
Knowing the results. I knew what the consequences were. And the results were you're shut down, and I went, beautiful. They know who I am.
Walk me through how you even, okay. We are obviously not in the younger generation as far as the TikTok and all that sort of thing. So how did you get that concept of I need to be on TikTok? Because not something really an older entrepreneur would really think about the first thing. Like, how did you think I'm going to get on TikTok? What was that like? Was there any sort of trepidation on going into that arena?
Well, as you know, at 61, I never considered myself a TikToker or an influencer. There was a gentleman, a very powerful gentleman here in Las Vegas. I went to his office, and he saw my product. He said, you want me to help you? I need you to get followers. I said, whatever. I have what I have on Facebook. I have what I have on Instagram. I have followers. So he said, you need to go on TikTok with your product. Whatever. 3 days, not 3 days in a row, but for 3 days, he called me. Are you on TikTok yet? Very powerful guy. I said, nah, I get to it. Okay. Second day, are you on TikTok yet? No, I'll get there. Third day, are you on TikTok? I said, I was thinking about getting it today. Get your butt up and get on there now. Like, dude, really? It's not that deep. But come to find out, he's in bed with TikTok. That's why he was adamant about me getting on there.
TikTok,
He had the power to make moves to where I could be in a great position. And he did. You know, he pushed my videos to go viral. It wasn't organic. You know, it was kind of just fabricated. But I did go viral,
Right.
which resulted in sales like I never seen before in my life. And I never considered TikTok to be a platform
Okay.
for me. I thought I was better than that, but no, TikTok was excellent for me.
So then when you got that push, you finally made that move and you got on there and you start seeing that sales, what did that do for you as far as the brand and you personally?
Clarity. I'm sober now. Now there's different eyes looking at the business. I understand the profits that are going to happen from all of the orders that are coming in. I generated $10,000 in 30 days. I've never seen numbers like that before. Although the money for postage and shipping and other costs went back in, but it was, you know,
The gross.
it was recycled. You know, I made the money, but I had to spend the money. Made the money, spend the money. So was I making a profit? No, I was making noise. And I wanted that more than anything.
But something to consider, I think it's something that some entrepreneurs are not aware of. If you want to think of it in a positive light, you literally grew a six-figure business in 30 days.
Yeah.
Because if you did that every month for a year, it's $120,000 gross.
Yeah.
Obviously not counting the expenses, but you literally built a six-figure grossing business in, I said 30 days.
30 days.
In a month.
That is correct.
That's an accomplishment. Are you conscious of that accomplishment?
Yes, I was. However, what I was more afraid of was the success. That was part of drinking. I knew I was great at a lot of things, but drinking kind of kept me in the circle of unsuccessful people, people that weren't going anywhere in life. And I wanted to feel normal by hanging around them. I thought that was normal and humble. I'm sorry. If you want to stay humble, you got to be on the same level as people that ain't doing nothing.
You know why I'm laughing? And this is telling on us personally, but I'm laughing because I know some of those people who we will not name because it's not about embarrassing anybody. But now that you're past it, you could probably get a sense of why I was a certain way when we were in those groups.
Yes.
Because I saw it. Because being someone that doesn't drink or doesn't do anything like that, I'm in that environment clear, watching it going, what the hell?
Yeah.
So you could give you
I'm better than that. I'm better.
You know, actually, I wasn't thinking I was better. Never thought that. What I was thinking was, I don't fit in.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. I don't fit here.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And then what it got me thinking was, but Gerard is like my brother. This is weird. How does he fit in? And you know why I say that? This is what's going to be interesting, probably blow your mind. I didn't realize you were drinking. I never knew you were drinking until you told me you were an alcoholic.
Drunk. Not drinking, drunk. You didn't know I was drunk.
I didn't know you were drunk. I never knew that.
I know.
When you told me that, I remember the moment, because I remember going home and writing it down in my journal. I remember thinking, what the hell? He was drunk all those times? Am I that clueless or unaware, or were you just brilliant at hiding it?
I was a professional. I was a professional. It took years for me to get to that level to where I could stand in your face and know what words to not use. You see, there's an art to staying drunk. You can't say words with syllables.
Got it.
You have to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. So when you do say something that an alcoholic or a drunk says, it's kind of like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I was drunk. I didn't know what I was talking about most of the time.
Going back to the product sales and on TikTok and really blowing up like that in 30 days and becoming, you said, afraid of the success. Do you think it's possible that in your wanting to make noise, you wanted to make noise to kill it and self-sabotage it to where you were really pushing the boundaries, and then that's how you ended up getting blocked?
Absolutely. I mean, yes. Yes.
And how would you advise me? For example, if I'm going on TikTok and I've got a product, what are a few of the challenges that you had to overcome personally? Not even so much with the product, but on a personal level to really pull that trigger, because you pretty much went kicking and screaming. You had somebody like almost demanding that you do it immediately. So you were kicking and screaming. So what would be some advice you would give to me? Because I'm one of those people where, and this may be ironic because we're doing a video interview. Yeah. I like being in the background. I don't want to be in the foreground. I don't want it to be about me. I hate being noticed. So that's one of the challenges I have. Like when I advertise my products, I advertise the products. It's not me.
Yeah.
And I know that's the wrong advice. I give people advice on it has to be you and your story. So how would you advise me to overcome that?
First of all, get out of your head. We create excuses and fears that stop us from being great. I could tell you 1,000 reasons why I didn't want to come here. I came because I don't have any, I'm bigger than my excuses. And I think that for anyone over the age of 55, they have to understand that this is a young man's world right now because of social media, but it's not a young person's game. We've played this game before. So we fit in, even though we feed ourselves these reasons why we don't. The way we look, my teeth are not done, my hair's gray, I'm receding, I have a pot belly. We run through all of these reasons to sabotage ourselves from doing things that make us great. Just be great. Go on there and be yourself. Authenticity, originality, being unique. That's what social media is about. People, here's one thing I like to talk about, Jelani. People think if they go on social media, oh, people are going to talk about me. They're going to judge me. I look a certain way. My family's going to say, that's not me, I'm lying and all that. You're just one peon. You're one little peon.
You're not that important in people's lives.
You're not that important.
You're not that important in people's lives. I'm happy, thanks to my dad.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I remember when I was a child, and I would come and complain to my dad about it. He would say, so.
Yeah.
I call it the sew technique. My dad taught me the sew technique. Someone says you're short, so. They said your face is funny, so. You're going bald, so. You're ugly, so. That was what my dad would say, so.
And I had the and technique from my dad. And.
The same thing. And or so.
Right.
It's like,
and.
So. And whatever. I'm not affected by that, by those sort of things. I find it interesting. I like it because it helps me to know more about the person. Because what they don't realize in those moments where they're criticizing you is they're telling about themselves.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, I do a podcast myself on people 55 and over doing a podcast. So I'll never run out of content. My content is me at 61 trying to learn how to do a podcast. And I call it Teaching People Over 55 How to Do a Podcast. And I just go on and make mistakes. My lights fall. I forget to turn my light on. My audio is bad. And I walk them through all of these things that are going to happen, that will happen. And you can't let it define you. You have to just go in and say, I'm not that important.
And even beyond that, it's about people, the relatability of it, where people feel as though, oh, I get it. And they feel a comfort and a connection where, okay, it's okay that this is happening. Because I think sometimes people judge themselves too harshly, take themselves too seriously, and they think it's more than it actually is. And I remember listening to one of those motivational speakers, and he said, it's never about you. You're thinking you're projecting all this thing onto this other person, and it's very rare that it's about you. You are not that important in someone else's life. But Getting back into what we were talking about earlier before we strayed off a bit, which was quite interesting,
Yeah. Okay.
honestly. But back into the product, when you got on TikTok, you blew up, you got blocked. So where are you now? How did it transition? Like what's the status now of of your brand online from that perspective? Are you just off TikTok, or just like how's it working now for you?
Well, I have a strong belief belief now that everything that's taken away from you is intentionally done to make room for something else to happen. So I never really had a negative outlook on or question myself, why did it happen? And, oh man, and I didn't sit in it. I sat there like a catcher. Come on, life. What do you have? A fastball now? What do you got? Curveball, slider, knuckleball? I'll take whatever you got. I understand what just happened. That was taken away from me, so something else could come into the arena, and it did. And it's just how my life is now with everything. Every time something is taken away or I don't succeed at it, it's making room for something else.
How does someone come into your orbit? How do you, as it is today, how do you get a customer?
Huh. Very simple. I can tell you this. I never sold a jar. I've been in business for 11 years with this moisturizer. I never sold a jar. Never. Oh, you had to sell one. How are you being successful and all that? This is a product that's not foreign to dark-skinned people. All I do is open it up and say, try it. Once they try it, they understand what I have. I don't have to sell it. I just let you try it. So now that I have that in my head, I can't just walk up and just put it on
Right,
people.
because I was going to say virtually, because if I found it online or
Right.
saw you on TikTok,
Okay.
how's that going to work?
Beautiful, beautiful question. When I had my brick and mortar, that's what I used to do. I walk up to people and put it on them, and they say, hey.
Just sold
This is
itself.
great stuff,
Yeah.
right? But virtually, I have to find creative ways to give it away. My 4-ounce jar costs me pennies to make. I make sure that I'm in the business of giving it away because it is a consumable product and people need more of it. And that's how I survive. So I am creative at how I give it away.
So you give it away, they use it, and they say, I liked it, and now I'm going to order more. So you gain the customer.
Not only them, but the family members. So now I have 5 people who are looking for my product when I gave it away to one person. So it has been a formula that has been working for me because dark people and shea butter go together. It's a perfect marriage.
So speaking about that, dark people and shea butter. So is it just for minorities? Is it just for us? Is it not for everybody?
Well, now I can answer the question you asked me earlier. Have I gotten any bad reviews? I get bad reviews from light-skinned people.
In what way?
They don't know how to use it. Let me be clear. My wife is Japanese.
Okay.
It takes her a year to use an 8-ounce jar
Okay.
because she has to use very little. It doesn't soak into her skin as it would mine and yours.
As far as how it's absorbed.
That is correct. It lays on top of her skin. And being in the business, trying to sell to Hispanics and Asians and Indians, they don't see how it works for them.
Huh.
And with dark-skinned people, they use it by cupping it like this and putting on every part of their body, and it absorbs in their body. There's no stains on their clothes, on their car seats, none of that. But with my wife, she has stains on the car seat, on the arm part, because it's too oily for them. So I get bad reviews from light-skinned people.
Interesting.
And I just recently started putting on a disclaimer saying, know what you're buying. Don't just buy it because I gave it to you at a good deal at an auction on whatnot, or I'm doing it as a giveaway. But thank God I used to get all of my bad reviews on just giveaways. They didn't buy it. and it didn't reflect on me. They joined the TikTok room and they won the giveaway. I sent them this and they go, "This is garbage." Okay, you have that right.
I wonder if it's the ethnicity or if it's the skin, regardless of light or dark. In that, like for example, I have oily skin. So for me, I don't put it on my face at all. I have oily skin. If I put nothing on my face, it's shiny. I have oily skin.
Yeah.
So for me, like it's on my hands now, I don't put a lot. So could it just be the skin, not color but texture?
Well,
Do you think?
I'm just talking.
Just curious.
Yeah, I'm talking in large numbers. I'm not.
You're speaking
actually
generally,
saying,
so
yeah, generally. I'm not
nuanced,
saying
like I'm nuanced, like
everyone, every
I
dark
got you.
person.
Okay,
So
not nuanced. It's just generally
right,
okay.
because there are light-skinned people that come right to my store and say, "Give me 2 jars." Oh, you know about this? Oh, I love this stuff. I've been using it all my life. They know that they can use it. They don't come to say, "Let me see if I can."
They know
use it.
how to use it. Is
They
basically
know
what you're
how
saying.
to.
Got you.
Now there's dark-skinned people like yourself that go, "I got something else I use. This is not for me." Okay, that's fine.
I use it on my feet a lot.
Oh,
because my
good,
feet
good.
get dry.
Yeah,
So ever since I've used it for my feet are never dry.
Good.
They're just never dry. I use it everywhere except on my face because my
Right.
face is just oily skin. This is the only place I don't use it. I was just curious if it was something with not the color of the skin, but more the texture of it.
I think it's more of the skin. People's skin reacts differently. Some, like you said, some are oily. Some are just very dry. Some are sensitive to where they can't use it. Some ashy. Oh, those are my favorite customers.
What about the scent? So, because each one of the products have a different scent from
Yeah.
like the natural oils. Like, how did you come up with that concept as far as using the oils? Why isn't it just unscented? Like, how did that come about?
My mother created the ideal of pairing the fragrance with the moisturizer. When we were young and we had one bathroom, it was get in and get out.
Okay.
You didn't have time to Vaseline yourself and put on something that smells good.
Okay.
You had to throw that bad boy in the Vaseline, scoop it up, and do it all at one time. Get out the bathroom, next person. We're
That's why you call it the new black Vaseline.
right. Now you get it.
It's actually literal.
It's so weird that you said that because that was in my mind, but I never told anyone. So I use it. I use it pretty much just like I do Vaseline anyway. But the fragrance that I had was for my candles. And then I started enhancing my fragrances and I listened to my customers. Number 1, do you have? Nope, but I can get it. Do you have? Yep, I didn't have it, but I'll go get
You
it.
go get it.
And I
Because
knew-
you're making it yourself. Like, it's just
yeah.
very quickly.
So the customers pretty much told me what I should have. And I remember there was at one point I had close to 70 fragrances, and you told me, dude, you're giving people too many options.
Too many choices. They can't decide.
And I said, that's not true. I argued you down because I had an ego. And you don't tell me what to do, and you knew that. You're like, my bad. I can't he's right. I can't tell him what to do. But I heard you. So I eventually started watching my jars and my numbers going, I've been sitting with this jar for 2 months. It hasn't moved. Get rid of it. Regardless if I liked it.
You let the demand dictate whether or not you need it.
God, it made sense. If it's not moving, why have it? Well, it looked good having all of these fragrances, I thought. Well, no, it did look good. It just didn't make sense.
Didn't make sense from a dollar's perspective.
Yeah, so I eventually started looking at numbers after a while and understanding that there's some fragrances that just sell. And there's some that I like that just don't. That's the way it is.
Yep. We are not our customers. You always have to remember that.
No,
you know?
and I don't lie to my customers either. If they ask me, hey, how does this smell? And I go, I don't like it. I personally wouldn't use it. I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance. I just don't like it because could you imagine someone sitting there and have 50 different fragrances, and you go, how's this one? Oh, this is great. This is my favorite. How's this one? Oh, great. This is my favorite. And you kind of just go, wait a minute. That's just his default. So
He's not being honest.
Yeah, the
He's just trying to
customer's
make the
not.
sale, and people will get that.
They're not dumb.
They're not dumb. They pick up on your energy, even if you're not saying the words.
Yeah.
People will pick up on your energy. So,
Yeah. So they love my honesty, man. You know, in my
good,
opinion.
good. Before we go, what's next? What do you have coming up? What's next? What can you share with people watching this video? Any offers you want to make them if they see the video of you?
Wow.
This interview.
Wow. That question, I wasn't expecting that question, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. Here you go. And this just happened. I never planned for this to happen. The very powerful gentleman that pushed me on TikTok, he asked me, do you want to go back and open up your store? I said, no. I jumped in, I did it, and I'm ready to move on to something else. So he said, okay, here, I have an idea for you. I have a tone. I want you to understand this tone can be generated through a hologram. It can be generated through sound. Can you do anything with it? And there's more to that, but I'm just kind of just shortening the story here. I said, sure, I can do something. I took the tone and I embedded it into music.
Okay.
And I'm able to sell that to the mall, to businesses that actually pay licensing fees for songs that they play. You know, close to $2,500. I'm sorry, $2,500 to start to maybe $5,000 a year for music that does nothing. It's just noise.
Right.
I embed a tone into the songs, and it transmits a tone that goes to people's phone and generates offers.
Okay.
My moisturizer is the offer now. So to fast forward and make a long story short, my job is to get that information. So the tone generates to a person's phone. The person says, the prompt says, you just want a free moisturizer, come and get it. But in order to do that, I need your information. They do that. Now they get the free jar. So my moisturizer is now primarily a giveaway.
Any privacy issues with that?
Any what?
Privacy issues as far as people giving up their private information.
No. This is they opt in.
Okay.
So it's non-intrusion because we have a disclaimer before you hit the turn on the prompt. Turn on the
They're
the receiver.
opting in to get
They're
this
opting in.
tone on their phone.
That is
in the
correct.
area where they are.
And plus, it went to Congress, and Congress approved it that this is legit. We have lawyers backing us up, and they're saying it's a go.
Sounds huge.
It is huge, and off camera I want to talk to you about that because it's not. It didn't happen. It's happening right now, and this is going to change the rest of my life, my wife's life, it's your life, everybody that's associated with me. This is a game changer, and I'm dealing with some very powerful people who recognize me because of one thing. One thing. They said, when you were on TikTok and you were killing it, you stayed like this. You didn't freak out. And then when you lost your store and you went like this, you were like this.
Same person.
Those are the people we want to deal with. So.
Well, we definitely will have to do a follow-up and see how things are going in a few months.
Excellent.
Gerard, thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, thank you,
Good to
Jelani.
see
I
you.
appreciate you, sir. Appreciate
All
you
right.
so much. This was fun, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.